So let's continue. So our first topic is introduction to logistics. And logistics is one of the components that is very common nowadays. People are talking about logistics from every industry. So what is logistics? And the main reason why organizations are trying to focus more on logistics is that they realized when you introduce logistics in your organization, one of the things that you are going to achieve is you are going to reduce your costs. Remember, transportation, movement of items sometimes is very tricky. So it is always important for companies to focus more on logistics. And logistics has been there for a very long time. And when we talk about logistics, we need to understand that logistics is made up of very many functions. And within those functions, we have sub-functions and many subsystems. So you can't say that logistics can stand alone. You need to understand we have other areas that are part of logistics. So the key component of logistics have been important features of industrial and economic life. So industries are focusing more on the logistics issue. And this has enabled them to ensure that they're able to achieve in terms of economic development. So it's always important to understand that companies across the world have been able to implement logistics, both in academic and in the business world. For example, universities are using logistics where they ferry even their students. Let's say you have a campus in the outskirts of Nairobi. So you'll be able to ferry even your customers to that place. So logistics is very key, both in academics and in the business world. So companies must be able to adopt a holistic view on how they operate when it comes to logistics. This is because logistics enables better interaction, both from the organization side and to the customer's side. So you might realize that I'm not per se reading the handout, because I want you to understand what we are talking about. Because when I'll be reading this, it is like I'm just taking you through the notes, and which is not good. So we need to appreciate the importance of logistics and supply chain by ensuring that we come up with a scientific approach towards this subject of logistics. And when you talk about scientific, then what you need to understand is that there's a science behind logistics. And logistics can be classified as a science because it is a process. So you don't just wake up in the morning and you do your logistics. There's a certain process that you must follow. And this approach, basically you're bringing various subsystems together and ensuring that they work in an integrated manner.
Yes.
So for us to understand logistics, therefore, we need to understand the definition. What is logistics? A simpler definition of logistics is that logistics is the movement of product. Are you able to write somewhere?
Yes, the movement
of products and information from the point of origin to the point of consumption. Is the movement of products and information from the point of origin to the point of consumption.
Okay.
Yeah. So remember, information must move, same as product. For example, let's give an example. Let's say you are doing business. and your products have reached the coastline, and you have your customers in Nairobi. Give me just a minute, please. A minute.
Problem. It's okay.
Okay, I'm back. I was trying to sort something.
All right, no problem.
So as I was saying, let's say you are having a business, and your business is Nairobi. Your customers are in Nairobi.
Yes.
And your business is on exports and imports.
Yes.
So maybe you've received some consignments from China, and you wanted those goods to reach Nairobi for your customers who are in Nairobi. So basically what you do, you must ensure you maybe outsource logistics function. You can give a company that is in Mombasa, and that company will enable you to be able to get your goods in Nairobi. So that function of moving those goods from Mombasa to your company, let's say industrial area, so that you can sell to your customers, is what you're referring to as logistics.
Okay.
So have you understood?
Yes.
So basically, some of the different names that have been applied to distribution and logistics may include the following. As you can see in page 3, we have physical distribution.
Yes.
So those are some of the names that have been used hand in hand with distribution and logistics. So when you talk about physical distribution is all about movement of final products from the manufacturer to the customer.
Okay.
Then we have logistics there, and I've just given you the definition of logistics. Then you have business logistics. So let's say you're having a business and you wanted to do some logistics. So you can use the business logistics.
Logistics.
Yeah. Then you also have material management.
Yeah.
So remember, in an organization, you always interact with various materials. So during your interaction, you need to manage those materials so that you don't have damages, and at the same time, you don't have breakages. So material management is all about ensuring that what you receive is in good condition, and your customers are able to get those materials in good condition.
Yes.
Then we have procurement and supply. So when you talk about procurement is all about acquiring goods and services to the organization.
Acquiring
Goods and services.
procurement and supply is acquiring.
Yeah, you're acquiring goods to your organization using a process of inviting suppliers so that suppliers can bid for a particular tender. Once they bid, you'll be able to give them an award of that contract so that they can start supplying to your organization. So that process is what we are referring to as procurement and supply. But I think there's a whole topic of procurement. As we go along, we'll understand more of procurement.
Okay.
Then we have product flow. Product flow is all about ensuring that there is that flow of products, both from the manufacturer's side and from the customer's side.
Right.
Remember, within the organization, assume you are working. Are you working?
Me,
currently?
right now? No.
Not working. One day you'll work. You'll realize within that organization, there is movement of product.
Yes.
From the receiving area, where goods are received, up to the production, and from production maybe to the customer internally.
Yes.
And externally, we also have movement of materials from that organization to the external customers. So both within the organization, there is product flow, and outside to the customer, we still have product flow. Then the other thing is marketing logistics.
Yes.
Marketing logistics is another name for supply chain management. So when you talk about marketing logistics, what comes into your mind is supply chain management, where you involve various components of logistics, like ordering, like information flow, like inventory management, warehousing. So all that is put together to form market logistics. Then the last one is demand chain management. So remember, when you are in a company and you are producing goods, what must come into your mind is that there is a certain demand for that particular good. So when you talk about demand chain management, you are focusing yourself on the orders you receive from your customers. And for you to manage demand well, you must first of all go outside there and look for orders from customers, then come and produce. But those yesteryears, what they used to do was to push for products. They produce products in masses, then they push those products to customers. But nowadays, the strategy has changed, because what normally happens is that nowadays, the salespeople go outside there to look for demand orders from customers. So demand chain management is all about ensuring that you're able to get orders from customers and using those orders now to do your forecast and later do your production, depending on what the customers need at the end of the day.
Yes.
Up to that point, do you have a question? Question?
My question is this market, the marketing logistics, this market, I didn't hear well. I didn't understand quite well what they mean. Does it mean does this mean you have it outside there, or?
You see what happens when you are moving those items. Sometimes you do some marketing. Let's say you are using a company like DHL. You know, DHL is a logistics company. The time they are moving the products maybe from overseas to your location, they're also doing marketing.
Okay.
Because you'll be able to see their cars branded, DHL. Yes. So marketing logistics is all about supply chain management put together, so that at the end of the day, the customers are also aware of what you do as a company. So we have the marketing aspect and the logistics aspect.
Okay.
So it is just a strategy of creating awareness to your customers. Any other question?
No, I think that's okay.
That's okay, yeah?
Yes.
So there's a statement there that says that logistics is diverse and dynamic function that has to be flexible to change according to various constraints. Are you able to see that?
Yes.
That one that I've highlighted.
Yes.
So logistics keeps on changing from the yesteryears. Remember, the concept of logistics has been there from the 1960s up to date. So it has kept on changing over time. And organizations are embracing more of logistics nowadays so that they have a competitive advantage in the dynamic business environment. As the business environment is changing, so is logistics. So,
yes.
So I want us to understand when we talk about logistics, what do we mean? Logistics is equals to material management and distribution. And remember, we talked about material management in that organizations will be able to manage their materials well so that they don't have damages, and at the same time they don't have expired items and what have you. So when you put logistics together, you need to combine the aspect of material management and distribution. And remember, when you talk about distribution, what we meant is the movement of items from the manufacturer to the customer or the consumer.
Yes.
Now, I believe today you took milk in the morning.
Yes.
Yeah, it was maybe fresher, Brookside, or what have you. So the distribution aspect has enabled you in the morning to take milk. This is courtesy of distribution. You are able to take that milk from Brookside, which is in Ruiru. You know Ruiru? So distribution plus material management has led us to logistics. The other scope of logistics, basically, when we talk about logistics, also we can't do away with supply chain. So supply chain is equals to suppliers plus logistics plus customers. So you see the issues of supplies coming in. So whenever you talk about supply chain management, you can't do away with suppliers. Because suppliers are the first step to ensuring successful supply chains. Because they are the people who know where the products are, maybe the raw materials, and they are the people who supply those raw materials to the organization so that the organization is able now to produce. Yeah. So logistics and supply chain are concerned with physical and information flow. Remember I said about physical and information flow. So when you talk about physical involves the movement of the tangible goods that you can see. For example, we talked about movement of items from Mombasa. So physical is all about the tangible things that you can see. For example, the products. Then we also talk about information flow. So information flows from the manufacturer. Let's say a manufacturer that is in Mombasa, and you're able to get that information for you is in Nairobi. So logistics and supply chain ensures that you're able to receive both physical goods and information flow, and storing those goods, either raw materials or final goods, to the end customer, who is the consumer, the final person who takes the goods. Remember, there's a difference between consumers and customers. You can be a customer.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there's a difference.
Because I can be a customer and I will not consume your products.
Yeah, you see, when you talk about consumers, consumer is the final person who takes a product. Let's say when you went to the supermarket today and you have a hotel, for example. So you're buying that milk so that you can go and reproduce other items, let's say tea. So the person who comes to take that tea is now the consumer, but you are a customer for the milk.
I'm a customer, yes.
But if you are going to take that milk at home, then you are the consumer. So you can get the difference.
Yes, I can get, yes.
Let's say you are going
a customer is the person who buys, and the consumer is the person who consumes.
You see, you can be a consumer, you can be a customer. So you are buying so that you reproduce it. Or you are buying so that you can go and resell. Or you are buying so that you can go to do your operations. So you see, you are a customer.
Yes.
For example, let's give an example of Bidco Africa. Bidco is a company that deals with oil. So, and we have Naivas, for example.
Yeah.
So Naivas is a customer for Bidco products. So they come to sell for you those items. So when you walk into a supermarket, you can either be another customer of a customer, or you can be a consumer. So if you buy the Elianto so that you can go and use it to produce other items, then you are a customer. But if you are going to consume the Elianto, then you become automatically a consumer, because you are the final user of that product. So consumers basically consume as the final consumers, the final users of a particular
product.
Yeah. So have you understood?
Yes, that one is clear. Yes.
Clear, eh? So I want to take you to a figure here. And this figure there's this figure that talks about supply chain Are you able to see it? It's on your screen.
Yes, yes. Yeah.
Mepanda juu, just a minute. Nitafute. So there's an illustration there that shows you how we have that movement of materials and information from the supplier. Just right below the figure, there's a supplier where I've pointed. There's a supplier there.
Yes.
Then we have the logistics function, and we have the customer. So the supplier is the supplier of raw materials, the supplier of components, the supplier of packaging items, product sourcing, imported materials, and bought-in parts. So these products move, they move to production. You can see there's production. Then within the production, we have sub-assemblies and we have work in progress. We have those items that are normally assembled, like cars, for example. So when you are producing cars, you normally assemble the cars. But when you are producing products, there's what is called work in progress. So work in progress are items that are between their raw state and finished product. Then we have packaging, which is all about unitization. Remember, when items are packed after production, they are normally packed. And the essence of packing those items is to be able to count them, unitizing them. Unitization is all about counting.
Yes.
Then we have finished goods and inventory. Then we have the warehouses. So warehouses is where you've produced finished products. Those materials are stored in a warehouse.
Yes.
And as they await to be distributed to various depots or distribution centers.
Yes.
And the person who is going to receive those items is the end user. And the end user in this sense is the customer.
The customer.
Yeah. So the white labels are giving directions on physical outbound. Physical outbound is movement of materials from the supplier side. You see supplier side there, and those items are moving to the organization. So we have various process and information, and we also have physical inbound stroke reverse inbound. So the black now is the movement of information and process. So remember, the customer is supposed to give feedback. So that feedback goes back to the organization, either to improve the item or to come up with a new item. Remember, when you complain as a customer, that complaint normally goes back to the organization. And the organization, therefore, must do some re-engineering, either to improve the product or to come up with a new product. So, any question?
Yeah, I don't know if can you repeat again?
Yeah, I can repeat.
Yes.
Remember, we are talking about supply chain. The keyword here is supply chain. And when we're talking about supply chain, there are many components, but we have just specified the components to be the three components where we have suppliers, we have the logistics function, and we have the final customer. So this is a typical example of a fast-moving consumer good that is manufacturer. So what normally happens, we have two things that move. We have the physical items and we have information. So when you talk about suppliers, what comes into your mind is the issue of raw materials. So suppliers normally supply raw materials. They can also supply components, packaging items, product sourcing, imported materials, and both parts. And they normally supply these items maybe to the organization, which can be a logistics firm, it can be a manufacturing firm, it can be a transport firm, depending on your industry. So once they bring the raw materials, what normally happens, the production starts. Once they receive the raw materials, they start producing. And after starting producing, what they normally do is they produce. And during that time of production, those items are in work in progress stage.
Okay.
So I said work in progress is in between raw materials and finished product. For example, when you're cooking mandazi, wakati unakanda hiyo mandazi, you are still in work in progress because bado hujapata the final product, which is mandazi.
Yes. Yeah.
And I also said sub-assemblies. We have those manufacturing organizations that normally assemble. For example, Toyota Kenya, they can assemble both parts, or they can assemble various components to come up with a product. Let's say a car. So they can assemble the components or the parts to come up with a car. Then after producing now, they will package that item.
Yes.
Let's say you are producing sugar, using sugarcane as a raw material.
Yes.
So after producing the sugar, you need to pack that sugar. So during packing, the essence of packing is to be able to come up with various units. And when you talk about units, we have various units. For example, you can package your sugar using the 200 grams packages, or 500 grams, or 1 kg, or 2 kg, or 50 kg, depending on your organization. So the essence of packing is to be able to count those packages, units that is, yeah. And after packing those units, you must be able to store them in a warehouse.
Yes.
So the essence of storing them in a warehouse is to be able to wait for the demand from customers. So warehouse is all about storage, and you're storing temporarily as you wait for the customers.
For the customers.
So that you can dispatch those items to your customers.
Yes.
Then after that, sometimes you can dispatch to the depots or distribution centers. We have those companies that have distribution centers. Even in your, when you walk around, you realize we have distribution centers for various products. Let's say milk, bread, and what have you. So when those items reach the distribution centers, they are taken to various customers or consumers or end users.
Yes.
So those items, after the customer receives those items, the customer can either be satisfied or dissatisfied.
Yes.
So they can give information, either a positive information or a negative,
yes,
depending on the customer's satisfaction.
Yes.
So that information is what goes back to the organization. If the customer was dissatisfied, then it means there was a problem on the final product.
Yes.
So the feedback is taken back to the organization, up to the supplier of that particular raw material.
Yes.
Yeah. Have you understood?
Yes, clear now.
Any question?
No, so far so good.
So far so good, eh?
Yeah.
So we have various definitions of logistics according to various writers. The first definition that I gave you was my own definition of logistics, but we have other people who have talked about logistics before, and they've given this definition on logistics.
Yes.
The first one was Glaskowski, 1973. who said that logistics is the management of all activities which facilitate the movement and the coordination of supply and demand in the creation of time and place utility. So you can see there's movement there, and you're moving supplies, and you're basing your fact on the demand from customer. So there's a balance between supply and demand.
And demand. Okay.
And at the end of the day, you are creating time and place utility. And utility in this case is all about satisfaction. So basically, you are providing time satisfaction and place satisfaction. So customers, when they are going to look for those items, they'll be able to find those items timely and at the correct or the right place. So that is according to that author. The second, Laskowski. Then we have Wikipedia, 2006, that defined logistics as an art and a science of managing and controlling the flow of goods, energy, information, and other resources. So logistics is an art and a science. So you see, an art is something that you do. For example, yes, if you are a gymnastic, you'll be doing some art. Unapiga sama vitu kama hizo. But a science involves a particular systematic process. So logistics, according to Wikipedia, is a combination of both the art and the science of managing resources and flow of information. So you're able to control and you're able to manage. Lola, have you understood? Seems you are having a question. Are you okay?
Yeah.
You're okay? I'm not getting it.
Understand?
Yes. I'm trying to, I'm not getting it.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you, yes.
So far,
yes.
These two people have their own definitions about this logistics. And yeah, also saying that is a nut, I think it's really a nut, but there's also the scientific part of which makes sense.
Yeah, there is that science part now.
Yes, yes. Yeah.
But all in all, they are all talking about movement.
Movement, yeah.
Yeah, so the key word when we talk about logistics, what needs to come into your mind is the movement now. So movement of both information, goods, and materials from the point of origin or the supplier to the end user. So yes, that is what you need to understand.
Yes, yes, yes.
Then CSCMP defined logistics management now as the planning, implementation, and control of efficient, effective forward and reverse flow and storage of goods, services, and related information between the point of origin and the point of consumption in order to meet customer requirement. So remember, we were talking about logistics. Now we are talking about logistics management. So we've introduced the aspect of management. And simply put, management is all about planning, organizing, directing, and let's say staffing of resources to achieve a certain objective in your organization. So when you combine both management and logistics now, you come up with this definition. So you'll be able to implement and plan and be able to control the storage of goods, services, and information from the point of origin to the point of consumption in order to satisfy the customer requirement. So when you're talking about logistics you also need to consider the customer requirement first, before you start even the movement. I'm not getting. Hello. You can hear me? Eh?
Yes.
Seems there's an issue with the network. Eh?
Okay. Is it on my side or yours?
I think both sides. Eh?
Let me see. Mine is full.
It's okay, yeah?
Yeah, mine it's okay, yes.
So you can hear me. You can hear me, eh?
Yes, now I can. Yes, now I can hear you, yeah.
Yeah. So we are talking about logistics management. So
yes.
we can't, we need to understand that management is more about planning, organizing, and directing various resources to achieve certain objectives in your organization.
Yes.
Then when you combine logistics and management, the aspect of planning and implementation comes in. Resources from the point of origin to the point of consumption, and ensuring that you achieve the customer's requirements. So, any question?
No, so far so good. That
So
one is
so good,
okay also.
Yeah. So the other thing we'll be talking about today is that for logistics to be more effective, you must ensure the issue of cost is taken care of. So as much as you want to achieve logistics, you must be able to consider cost. So
actually,
in business,
I think we have jumped one. Just I think we have jumped some. Oh, this Chartered Institute. Okay.
It's just a repetition.
Ah, okay. It's all the same.
It's all the same, but we can just talk about it. The positioning of resources at the right time, in the right place, at the right cost and the right quality. So this is according to the Chartered Institute of Logistics and Transport.
Okay.
So it just gives a focus on ensuring that you do things right. The 5 R's of logistics or procurement or purchasing. We have the right place.
R's.
Yeah, the 5 R's.
Right
somewhere. So the first R is the right quality.
Yeah, let me do it. 5 R's.
Yeah.
Okay. One is right.
The right quality.
Okay.
We have the right quantity.
Okay.
We have the right price.
Quantity and price.
Right price, right price.
Right price, okay.
Then we have the right source.
Right source.
Right place.
Right place.
And right time.
Right place and right time.
By the way, that's supposed to be 6, 6
yes,
hours.
I see the 6, yes.
Yeah.
6 hours.
Yes. So whenever you are talking about logistics or procurement, those are some of the principles that will guide you in the area of supply chain management.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So we have right quality, right quantity, right price, right source, right place, and right time.
And right time, yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Any question? Any question? No question. So I was trying to bring the issue of cost in logistics. So cost in logistics is very key. Are you able to hear me? Hello? Hello?
I can hear you.
Oh, you can hear me?
Yes. Yes, I can. Yeah.
So we need to come up with the issue of cost. As much as you are trying to move those items or to transfer those items from the source to the place of consumption, you also need to consider the issue of cost effectiveness. Remember, we are in business. And when you're in business, you want to maximize on your profits.
Exactly.
You need to consider the cost aspect of movement of items.
Okay.
So that at the end of the day, as much as you want to satisfy your customers and you want to increase your profits, you also need to consider that don't go for items that are too expensive or for companies that are too expensive or for cars that are too expensive, because at the end of the day, you also need to get profits as you satisfy your customers. Even you today, when you start a business, your main focus will be to increase your profits. So when you increase your profits, then it means you're in business. But the moment when you realize that your costs overtake your revenue, then your company is going to fail. You can see big companies are going down, like Tuskys, like they went down, Nakumatt, because they didn't take a keen interest on their cost. So before you choose any logistics company, you need to do what is called a cost benefit analysis. Or if you have an internal logistics department, before you now create that department, you must weigh the cost vis-a-vis the benefit you are going to get at the end of the day. Yeah. So this focus on cost effectiveness and customer service will be a point of emphasis throughout this book. So they will be focused on cost effectiveness and customer service. So those two key areas must always be in your mind: cost effectiveness and customer service. Is that okay?
Yes.
For most organizations, it is possible to draw up a familiar list of key areas representing the major components of distribution and logistics. And this may include transport. So some of the components of logistics and distribution, number one is transport. And when you talk about transport, sometimes people confuse transport and logistics. So transport basically is movement. Just a minute.
Okay.
Yes. So we were talking about type of storage. And hello.
I can hear you.
We were talking about the type of storage, depending on the nature of what you do. If you are in, let's say you are dealing with perishable items, so you need to organize your store in a way that you have cold rooms, where you can be able to keep those perishable goods as you wait for demand from customers. But if you're dealing with this, yes?
Examples, those perishable goods.
For example, milk, then you have the fish fillet, things like that, things that can go bad.
In a short time.
In a short time, yeah. Unajua zile vitu unaeka kwa deep freezer, ndio isiharibike. So you also need to consider that. Yeah, then if you are dealing with this other type of goods, you can keep them in a normal warehouse. Yeah. Then material handling equipment like forklifts, you need to consider those aspects. If you're using a forklift, for example, you need a bigger space in your warehouse so that you allow the movement of the forklifts and the trolleys.
Okay, yes.
Yeah. Then we have packaging and unitization. Packaging is all about units. So you'll be able to count items. You'll be able to protect those items. And at the same time, you'll be using a handling system that will allow for faster movement of packaging. When these companies that are doing manufacturing, for example, they normally have a handling system that allows for better packaging and faster to allow efficiency in packaging. Yeah?
Okay.
Then we also have inventory. And here, when you talk about inventory, you need to understand what to stock. What are you going to stock at the end of the day? Are you going to stock raw materials, work in progress, or finished goods? Where are you going to stock? Are you going to stock on food items, non-food items, or components? And how much are you going to stock? And when you talk about how much, you are considering the value of the materials that you want to keep.
Yes.
Then we talk about transportation, where you'll understand the various modes of transport. And we have 5 major modes. And the first one is the road transport.
Yes.
Then we have air transport. We have railway transport. We have water transport. And lastly, we have pipeline. Pipeline transport.
Pipeline.
Yeah. Then the type of delivery operations. Then you also understand the loading plan. How are you going to load and offload items or material or vehicles at the receiving bay? Then you also do some routing and scheduling, where you will understand the various routes of your distribution. So you need to come up with a schedule that will show you how well you are going to distribute your items to your customers. So scheduling is all about coming up with a plan on your transportation. Yeah. Then the last one is information and control. So when you talk about information, you need to come up with a design of a system. You can come up with a software that will allow you to collect information, or a database that will enable you to collect information about your various stakeholders, from your suppliers up to your customers. That's why, for example, when you are going to a supermarket, they normally provide for you the cards, these loyalty cards, where you are storing information. They store information about you, and you'll be able to earn points, and at the same time, you'll be able to use those points. Then you also need to come up with a control procedure. How are you going to control your information so that that information does not leak to your competitors? Then lastly, we have forecasting. Forecasting is you're going outside there to see the demand and bringing that information back to your organization so that you'll be able to produce those items. So it is always important for you to do those forecasts well.
Okay.
Yes, this do you have a question?
But it's about transport.
Yes.
The pipeline transport, what do we use with that?
So pipeline transport is the use of pipes to transport liquid and gas. For example,
those two.
Let's say you're in the house right now.
Yes.
Nairobi Water has transported water to your location. So at the end of every month, you must pay for that service. So that water is a liquid that has been transported using pipeline.
Pipe.
Yeah. Then there are some developed countries where they transport gas.
Yes.
To your various houses or your households. So you'll be able to receive gas by just dialing some numbers, and the gas will be present so that you use. Then we have Kenya Pipeline. Remember Kenya Pipeline?
Yes.
They normally transport liquid paraffin, liquid petroleum products from Mombasa to Nairobi using pipes. And they're able to track that pipe using a system. Yeah. Any other question? Yes, question?
Yes, this information and
yes.
Again?
Yes.
Yes.
I'm there. Information and control. Yes.
Yes.
Yes, question, yes.
The information and control. It's about, you said it's about the loyalty that we have, that we give. I mean, that we get, we register.
About design of a system.
Yes.
So I was talking about the design of a system.
Yes.
So a good company must come up with a system that will be able to collect information, both from various stakeholders. They can collect information from their suppliers, as well as they can collect information from their customer.
Okay.
So that system that you come up with will be able, or will enable you to be able to collect information about a customer. So I was given an example of a supermarket, for example, where you go to a supermarket and you are given a card, and that card has all your information. So to maybe send an SMS to you, they use the database and the information that you gave them so that they can communicate to you as their customer. Yeah.
Okay, I understand. Okay.
You understand that? Any other question?
No.
No question.
No question.
For today, I think we will stop there.
Yes.
So that you digest,
Yeah.
at least understand. I have also recorded the video, and I'll be able to share.
Okay.
Yeah, at least you can listen to it. And in case you need any clarification, you can always ask.
Yes. Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
So next time when
All
we meet, I'll be talking about the historical perspective of logistics.
Okay.
Then we can continue like that until we finish.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
So I believe you're okay, you've understood. In case of any queries or clarification, you can always call.
Okay.
Is that okay?
So,
Yes.
Call?
Yes.
Time. What is the time supposed to
Time.
call? Like from what time to what time? Yeah, give me your
Call.
schedule.
You
Yeah,
can
if
call.
I have a question, can I just text anytime or call
text
anytime?
no problem.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Let's meet. Yes.
Digest them. If there's a place that I do not understand, I'll text you tomorrow.
Okay, no problem.
Okay. So
I'll schedule it for tomorrow. I'll schedule it.
Okay.
For today it was 6. For tomorrow maybe I'll schedule it. Then I'll share.
Today it was 6:30. Yeah.
Yeah, 6:30. So starting from tomorrow maybe I'll see the best time. When are you free?
This time is good for me.
From 6 is okay.
Yes.
So from tomorrow I'll just reschedule a recurrent meeting.
Yes.
So that I don't schedule every time.
Even for next week, because next week, Monday to Wednesday,
yes.
I'm doing a training in first aid.
Yes.
And
so you'll be free in the evening, Evening is okay.
Yeah, evening is okay for me.
So
it works well. Yes.
So I think evening is better.
Yes, it's better.
So we'll be doing 1 hour 30 minutes so that you understand. So there's no need of doing a lot, then
I don't understand anything.
You don't understand. It becomes
Yes.
So 1 hour 30 minutes is okay.
Okay, sawa. Thank you so much.
Welcome.
Yeah.
So I can end the meeting.
Yes, please do. I'm satisfied. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.